Hello, and welcome to the hashtag Here to Hear Keeping It 100 podcast. My name is Damon Naylor, and I'll be serving as the host. I am the NAFCM media guru, and I'm joined by my co-host, DG Mon, the president of NAFCM. Hello, DG, how are you?
Hello, Damon. A little under the weather, but doing okay, I suppose. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, doing great. Glad you're still here with us, man, hanging in there, but we know you're going to feel better soon. So, hey, hang in there, DG. Always a pleasure to see you and to hang out with you. And so today, man, we have some exciting and amazing guests, an all-star crew with us. And so I just want to name these individuals, let you know a little something about them. We start out with Julie Ali. She's the Assistant Executive Director of Peace and Education. Brenna Furness, the Executive Director of Conflict Resolution Institute. Then we have Marco Ortega, the Director of Dispute Resolution at Groundswell. And last but not least, Tracey Frisch, the Executive Director of the AAA-ICDR Foundation. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing this evening?
Great, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having us.
Awesome, awesome. Like I say, we're just so glad and elated that you guys, are here with us, and we're going to dive right into it. And the first question we're going to pitch to Tracey: why did AAA-ICDR create this grant? What was the purpose behind that?
Yeah, thank you. And thank you again for having us and showcasing this work through the podcast. And if it wasn't for NAFCM, this wouldn't have happened. So thank you, NAFCM, for all of your support in making this happen. So the AAA itself is a non-for-profit. So when we saw, what was going on in LA with the wildfires, we did what we could as an organization. We mobilized pro bono panelists, our own mediators and arbitrators, advertised our hardship waivers for individuals and small businesses, for folks, who were struggling and being affected by the fires and couldn't pay our administrative fees. We supported various nonprofits in the LA area. We have an office in Los Angeles, and we have many panelists who live in and around the LA area. But we knew that through our foundation, we could do more and we could really reach the people who needed it the most. And so the AAA-ICDR Foundation has part of our granting, we call it the rapid response grants. So it's money that we have for when it's needed, for when something happens in the world, current events, and we feel like ADR can play a role in being part of, I don't know if I would call it the solution, but part of the process of help, some sort of help in what's happening. And so when we saw the devastation that was being caused by the fires, you knew that with any kind of disaster, there's going to be a lot of people who need help. And there's going to be disputes, and there's going to be issues, and people are going to be in very tough situations. So we wanted to provide funding in a way that people could access free services, free mediation services. We had already partnered with NAFCM under other grants that we had given to NAFCM. So we were very familiar with who they are and what they're about and their reach. So one of our first phone calls was to DG to say, okay, we want to support community mediation centers who are helping communities affected by these fires. So we really leaned on NAFCM's expertise and their members in order to discover these wonderful community mediation organizations and flow the funding through NAFCM to the community organizations to really do some outreach in their communities to let them know, and they'll talk much more about it, but to let their local communities know that they're there and how mediation and community mediation centers in particularly can be of service in the aftermath of the wildfires.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's so great that you guys stepped up and stepped in to provide that financial assistance to meet this need, to work with the community mediation centers and NAFCM, of course. But thank you so much. Okay. So we have the reason, the why behind AAA-ICDR, why they wanted to create the grant. So now we want to hear from everyone else. Why did you say yes to a shared grant, to a learning community, and to focusing on fire-related conflict? Why did you guys say yes to it? We can start with Julie, if you don't mind sharing with us.
Sure, thank you, Damon. I mean, it probably sounds cliche, but I love
LA. I love the community that I live in and the community that I serve, and our volunteers of our program do too. And so when there's a natural disaster like this, we want to help. We want to do something. I feel like we're driven to find our way in and how we can help the most. And we feel protective of people that are hurting. So this really was like the perfect storm of all those things. And we needed to find a way into how we could help, where we could help. And peace and education, we started in the LA area serving communities that are going through all different types of things, sometimes even good things. But we think the recovery should restore balance, and people need to be part of that recovery. And I really think that's where community mediation comes in, because we're more about listening to what people need rather than deciding that we're going to solve this all for you, and not really getting at the heart of understanding the depth of the problem and what needs to be accomplished. So this project really, I was drawn to that element of being a part of using what I know, what I love to do, and working with a team that I love to have an impact. And I would disagree, Tracey, that you guys are not part of that solution, because you gave us the power to do the work. And I know that it was important to your organization enough to come and see that solution being part of our processes at NAFCM and at our center. So I appreciate that very much. It just felt like the right place to be. So
awesome. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. Brenna, we'll pitch it to you.
Sure, thank you. It is pretty special to be on the radar of two national organizations and to have our for me, I'm in Ventura County, which is a much smaller county than the other folks on this podcast. And so to be on the radar of two national organizations immediately caught my interest. In that, I thought, oh, that's interesting. Like, someone cares about us. Somebody wants to invest in our community. Someone wants to help us help other people. CRI has been around for 35 years in Ventura County. We serve as the conflict resolution resource in our county. So for me, when I think about, hey, who are we in our community? I think we are that resource. And when someone says we want to empower you in what you're already doing, I'm going to say, yes, okay. One of the things that kind of piqued my interest about it too is that I didn't quite know how the plan was going to pan out, but I'm very comfortable in sitting with the tension of that. And one of the things about disaster like a wildfire, having been through one in 2017 and in Ventura County, the Thomas Fire swept through my town of Ojai, which is a tiny little town. One of the things about wildfire disasters is the need for resources goes on for years, right? So this rapid response fund, Tracey, I love that you said that. It helped me understand some of the origins of the fund, but that rapid response fund too also helps us figure out how we're going to continue to respond in the long term. And that's something that I thought, hey, I didn't necessarily know at first. For folks who'd experienced the impact of the mountain fire, which is the fire that swept through our area. But now, what are we, 6 months on? I want to say 6 months on, we've been doing this work. One of the things that I have learned is that, hey, it's okay to sit in the tension. You almost have to. Sometimes that tension is a change in a work plan, or that tension is, I'm not quite sure how to find those who have been impacted the most. Like, who needs this work right now? Or what is the work that they need done, or the service that they need? Sometimes that tension can be various different things, but I think if we sit in it long enough, and this is sort of the gift, this is the gift that NAFCM and AAA-ICDR gave us, is letting us sit in that tension long enough to start seeing things emerge, like the resolutions emerge, to see even the needs, right? Not just the resolutions, but waiting to see what those actual needs are than just assuming, hey, this is what our community needs and wants. And that takes time. And I think one of the things that is so wonderful about the work that we do is it's a long game, right? So I appreciate the rapid response funds for our organizations, because we are actually in a long game here. And the thing about these disasters is they happen. Like we can't, okay, sometimes you can predict them, but we can't always predict them. We certainly cannot predict the impact that it's going to have. And so that release of funds was something I immediately was like, I don't know how I'm going to use them now, but I'm going to figure out how we can help our community. So that was my why.
Wonderful. Thank you, Brenna. Then, of course, we'll pitch it to Marco.
All right, thank you. Yeah, and appreciate hearing what my colleagues had said. And so here at Groundswell, I'm here on behalf of Groundswell. We're in Orange County, and immediately following the fires, even before NAFCM and AAA reached out, we had gotten a call from one of our partners in the Pasadena School District who had asked, "Hey, can you help with facilitating some dialogues here that we're doing for parents that were impacted by the fires?" Again, we need a little bit more help, a little bit more folks, just people to help us facilitate that are able to do that. And so we were able to help and support with that in the moment. And of course, we immediately said yes because hey, we want to help, we want to support. And it's that availability and those relationships. One of the core values that we have here at Groundswell is that power of relationships and how do we strengthen and build relationships. And so hearing about this opportunity and that it was going to be a collaboration, that it was going to be, hey, these different community mediation centers throughout Orange County, LA County, Ventura County, that was immediately interesting to me, something that I wanted to be a part of. As Brenna said, a lot of this is long-term work and it's the foundation of it is relationships. Do people know that we're available? And when people are going out and seeking resources, they might not always go to community mediation first. They might not know what mediation is. And so how do our community partners also know about the work that we're doing, about the support that we can give so that if folks come in, wherever they come in, seeking assistance, seeking support, they're able to get connected to our community mediation services if that is something that's going to help them navigate it. And so that was incredibly interesting. That was incredibly appealing to me. And really that idea of, as Julie mentioned, doing with rather than doing to or doing for. How do we incorporate community voice in, hey, what is needed rather than just coming in? The grant route did not come in and say, hey, you need to do this or you need to do that, and this is what this fund is for. But it's okay, hey, let's figure out what do we need to do. Let's put our ear to the ground and reach out to our partners. And so this idea of doing with, I felt it was at the core of this opportunity. And so yeah, it was very easy. It was very much in alignment with our values as an organization to say yes and to say, yeah, we wanna partner and we wanna do with. And I think we've seen that in the results here as well of just this coalition that we've been able to build here amongst ourselves of being able to say, hey, if things happen again in the future, we're able to respond a lot more quickly. We had these relationships and now we have even more, and now they're strengthened multiple fold. It's a small geographic area if you look at like from Orange County to Ventura County, but it's more people than a lot of states, right? We're talking about well over 10 million people. And so as much as we do our best to build connections, being able to amplify that with all of you, and again, with the help of NAFCM and AAA to amplify that message, amplify that outreach, I think has been fantastic and incredibly helpful.
Great. Thank you, Marco. Okay, Zoe, why did you guys say yes to participating in this?
Thank you so much for asking and having me here. I think one of the reasons why we said yes to this was because we previously took on work and a grant associated with helping people related to the COVID pandemic, which was, a different kind of natural disaster, and we saw how that resulted in a lot of community conflicts over time and how that really unfolded and affected people. And we saw this as another opportunity. I think before this grant even came out, we thought, just from all the people we knew in our own lives, we're here located in LA County at the Loyola Center for Conflict Resolution. And through Loyola Marymount, at the Loyola Law School, we're located in downtown. And the Loyola Marymount University, the main campus, is over on the west side in Westchester. So that's pretty spread out through the county, LA County. And then, we all know people throughout the county who were affected in different ways. And I think we just right away we thought of, oh, the cases that were going to come up and all the different types of conflict. And we kind of knew right away also there were going to be so many unforeseen consequences. We were prepared for surprise, but that we needed to be prepared as best we could. So I think having that experience with helping people after the pandemic, and we still get people calling in, letting us know that they have debt from COVID, things like that. It's still affecting people, or that they have long COVID, it still affects them. We really thought that this is sort of a next new big opportunity where people are going to need that help. And so when this grant opportunity came up, it just seemed like a natural thing to do, right? It just fit in with exactly what we anticipated. When these things happen that just affect everybody, at least in our area, and especially where there's sort of these unforeseen circumstances that affect everybody, mediation is a really good opportunity to help people bridge some understanding, right? Where everybody's gone through this shared trauma, difficulty, and there's an opportunity for mediation to help people understand each other better, understand the situation. There's an opportunity for sharing that understanding, but also, people still misunderstand each other, have distrust, and opening up communication can help people really get through those conflicts. So, yeah, it felt really, really natural for us to get involved. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Zoe.